they're not going to get a points deduction and they are not going to be thrown out of the Premier League. Let's talk about it. Bombshell. Juve lives. Because it's Juve like, no, 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 no. If you're gonna go down, you're gonna go down with us as well, okay? And that's how it's gonna be, man. So wow. Intriguing. Quite intriguing, man. So let's first read the statement here, and this is from the BBC. So basically, this got because we'll go to him as well. So it was broke by a journalist, Martin Ziegler, who is the chief sports reporter for the Times. So I have to give credit to Martin Ziegler, who really was the guy that broke the story, and pretty much everybody is collecting him up. So before we go to Ziegler's Twitter profile, let's actually go to what our dear friends at BBC are saying, just to a nice little read through. So you can see that that's cool. The Premier League has charged Man City with more than 100 breaches of its financial rules following a 4-year investigation. It has referred the club to an independent commission over alleged rule breaches between 2009 and 2018. Okay. Wow, wow, wow. That is interesting. That is very interesting indeed. 09 and 2018. It is also accused City of not cooperating since the investigation started in December 2018. Oh, so this has been happening since 2018. So what? So yeah, it was basically 4-year investigation. City said they were surprised by the charges and are supported by a body of irrefutable evidence. Ooh, okay. Let's see what the evidence is. The commission can impose punishments ranging from, and this is where it gets real, a fine and points deduction to expulsion from the Premier League. And we'll get there. We'll get to the whole fine thing. That's interesting. So I think it's a club statement by City. Man City is surprised by the issue of these alleged breaches of the Premier League rules, particularly given the extensive engagement and vast amounts of detailed materials that the EPL has been provided with. The club welcomes the review of this matter by an independent commission to impartially consider the comprehensive body of irrefutable evidence that exists in support of its position. As such, we look forward to this matter being put to rest once and for all. So what have City been charged with? In a statement, the Premier League and said City breached rules requiring them to provide accurate financial information that gives a true and fair view of the club's financial position. What does that sound like? That sounds like something very familiar and very similar to another club. I don't know. Black and white, black and white. Let's keep going. So, the information covered club revenue, which includes sponsorship income and operating costs. Further alleged breaches relate to rules requiring full details of manager remuneration from 2009 to 2010, 2012 to 2013 when Roberto Mancini was in charge, and player remuneration between 2010, 2011 and 2015, 2016. So now this is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets interesting, and I think this is where we can now go to apparent Ziegler. In 2020, European Football Governing Body (UEFA) ruled that City committed serious breaches of FFP regulations between 2012 and 2016. However, a 2-year ban from European competitions was overturned by the Courts of Arbitration for Sport later that year. We're going to go back to that. That's very key. We're going to get back to that because that's very key. That is very key. UEFA began its investigation into City. Blah 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 blah. So, I want to now go to Mr. Ziegler now because keep in mind the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So, my initial thing was they're not going to do anything. Just like it's happened with UEFA. Cool, they'll go to cash, middle cash, cash, pay the middle cash, and they will overturn it again, just as they did with UEFA, where UEFA tried to ban them for 2 years. But this way it gets tricky. Let's go to our friend Ziegler here. So, he says, City latest, under Premier League rules, the club will not be able to appeal any sanction to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which overturned the UEFA ban. So they're not going to be able to go to CAS. They're not going to be able to go to CAS with it, man, which is huge. That would be huge. If they're not able to go to CAS, that is going to be huge. If they're not able to go to that court of arbitration for sports, but that's going to be huge, man. So, I mean, it's tricky. It's it's really tricky, man. Here's where I am with this whole thing, man. The fact that they can't appeal to court of arbitration for sports is like, oh my gosh, we got them. But the thing though is this: do you really believe they're going to overturn it? Let's actually go to the whole BBC thing again, because I want a full context here. So, hold on, we don't give them bounce warning because still. So they'll be armed with the best lawyers, looking line by line at every element of the Premier League case. The charge sheet includes 5 years of allegations that City have not assisted with the inquiry, which is all of it. The whole thing will be expensive and it will drag on. So what that says to me is it's going to drag on. How much is it going to drag on? And because my thing though is, see, that's what it's tricky. This is confusing. So my thing is, okay, my thought process, you're going to appeal and have a process for appeal. But if you can't appeal to the court of arbitration for sports, I suppose the only thing they can do is, okay, we have to at least defend ourselves and provide evidence. So that process of us responding to all of these allegations and, okay, refute, corroborate, and so forth, how long is that process going to take? So is there a situation where we can reach a decision that they get either a fine or a points deduction this season? Now, let's keep it real. Most likely it's going to be a fine. What is not so basic, there are 3 punishments here: fine, points deduction, thrown of the Premier League. Thrown to the Premier League, that is not happening. Marketing, City, and so forth, that is an extremity that won't happen. They would not do that to Man City. So we're left with 2. Fine and points deduction. The most likely is a fine, 100%. They pay a hefty fine and so forth. But I look at Juventus, because these charges put against them, these transgressions that they've had, they're very similar to Juve's transgressions. And when you look at what happened to Juve, it was a points deduction. So false financial information over a 4-year period. Sorry, 4 years was how long the investigation took. I think it's from 09 to 2018. They say so from 09 to 2018. So false accounting. That should carry a point deduction, because if it happened to Juve, it should happen to Man City. Because I believe from using my deduction, the punishment for false accounting and so forth is a points deduction. Potentially to be thrown out, but it's a point deduction. So if we have a scenario where all City are given is a fine, people were like, okay, what's the point in having rules if there are no proportionate punishments for said rules? Because each rule should receive the required punishments here. Now, maybe it may be different, but my assumption is this. If I'm wrong, my assumption is false accounting, lying about what you've earned, what has gone out and what has gone in, should carry a points deduction. It should carry a point. A fine. What's a fine? Is nothing. That is a heavy crime, because this is how we keep checks and balances. You're lying about how you're running your finances, while everybody has to keep aligned with, okay, we can't spend because we spend, we can't because of our spending. That we have to basically keep within the rule book. And another club is playing by totally different rules from everyone else. That's unfair. So if you're the 19 other clubs and all City get is a fine, which they can very easily pay, because a fine for City doesn't harm them. That's not a punishment. Because like, okay, give us, how much you want us to pay? 10, 100,000, 50, a million, 2 million? Take it. So that's not a real punishment. That really does not affect people who are exceedingly rich. What affects them is a points deduction or being thrown out of the league. So if you're the 19 other teams, you're like, we've had to keep within the rule books and so forth, because if we did what City did, then do you know the amount of players that we could have received? If you're United, you're Chelsea, you're Arsenal, you're Tottenham, you're Southampton, you're Brighton, and so forth, and you were like, if you did what City did and had false accounts, look at the kind of players that we could have received that could have helped us. But no, we kept by the rules. I knew that, man, I know we need him, but we can't because we've got to keep within the rules. But these guys didn't play by the rules. And we know how much money City has spent and the crazy amounts of money that they've been spending. And I thought, okay, fine. They've got the money and so forth. But now we now know that with all those players who have come in and have heavily helped this team win all those league titles and all those trophies, no UCL, they were actually breaking the law. That's wild. That's wild. It's wild. It's wild. So, I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying, man. So, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, you know. But in my view, what should happen is a points deduction. Because if it happened for Juve, it should happen. What will happen is a fine. A fine, because they'll be punished and it will be a fine. And if a fine does happen, it'll be interesting to see how people will respond, especially if you're Arsenal. But sorry, a key point I wanted to add as well, marketing. Do you really want to give City a points deduction? Or do you really want to keep things as exciting as they are right now with the title challenge and so forth? Because remember, everything's a show. The product comes first. The Premier League, it's a business product. It's a marketing machine. It's a marketing juggernaut. So you now taking City out of the equation of points deduction. United I think United are 8 points behind, and they're 8 points behind, and Arsenal have a game in hand. Come on, bro. With how well Arsenal are playing. So you want to keep things exciting. So I think most likely what will happen, little talk here, points deduction. But my question to all of you guys is, with what has happened to Juve, and remember guys, February 22nd is a big day for Juve because we're hearing it's going to be further 20 points for your boys Juventus. So it gets through with your boy Allegri. Allegri will probably rip his skin off. But if you see what's happened to Juventus, is it fair that City gets off without any points deduction whatsoever? Hit that subscribe button over there, guys. Hit that subscribe button over there, guys. And remember, if you remember, check out that members content over. Remember, tonight is the members hangout. I'll see you guys tonight for that members hangout. Peace out. Peace.